Alright, I just got some Eagles afterthoughts here, and I'm gonna add a little afterthought thing since my reaction videos come right after the game ends. There's some things like I don't mention or I don't think to mention. Anyways, that's what this portion of the video is going to be before I do the week review and the week predictions in the next NFL season. As far as the afterthoughts go, one of the things that came out, and it's getting a lot of the publicity here in Philadelphia, is Byron Maxwell talking about, how tired he was and how, he shouldn't be getting all this criticism because, frankly, the defense gets burned out when your offense keeps going 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, punt, 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 and you get that defense right back on the field and they don't have time to rest. One thing I never ever hear when this is brought up is, in theory, if Byron Maxwell is so tired, shouldn't, in turn, the other team's offense be just as tired? Now, okay, maybe it's a little bit more exerting to play defense than it is offense, but, you're basically on the field running routes. Tony Romo's taking hikes, and, he got injured, that's a bad example. But you didn't hear Terrence Williams saying, damn, I can't believe I ran that touchdown in late in the fourth quarter because I was so tired from being on the field so much. Our offense was on the field constantly. The Eagles kept giving the ball back to us. I had to keep getting back on the field. I can't believe I didn't drop dead before I hit the end zone. I don't understand how you always hear a defense bring this up when your offense has a poor day and the defense has to keep hitting the field. It's like, you should have had an easier time playing defense because the other team's offense is just as worked from having to be in just as many plays as you are on defense. I don't know. That's why I think it's just a cheap ass excuse. And frankly, Byron, you're a product of a system that needed stellar pieces to complement you. You don't have Earl Thomas. You don't have Cam Chancellor here. And you don't have Sherman, and that's the bottom line. It's the same way how, and another thing about Murray is he's the product of a good offensive line. Now, a lot of people are saying, you can only give Murray and Bradford so much criticism here because they got a shit offensive line in front of them. And while that's all true, there have been shit offensive lines that have been worse than what we're seeing in Philadelphia this season. And the running backs somehow miraculously manage to get more than 2 yards rushing. I'm sorry, there's no excuse. You can only put so much blame on the offensive line when you have an 1,800-yard rusher from last season only getting 2 yards rushing in a game. 2 yards. And as far as Bradford, he's throwing picks. He's looking bad in the pocket. He doesn't look like he's doing his progressions well because he's scared in the pocket. At this point, you ain't new to the game. You've had enough time to work out the fears of a pocket collapse and stuff like that and make better decisions. There's no excuse for some of the bad decisions he's making. Yes, it does suck that Jordan Matthews has iron mitts on over his hands and they just goes clink, 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 and you can't get the balls to stick to him. I get all that, and you know what? A lot of Bradford stats are hurt because of these wide open receivers that aren't catching the ball. But to that same end, he's missing a lot of open receivers. He's overthrowing a lot of open receivers. He's not doing a read properly. He's going with the wrong read. Like every time he throws to Riley Cooper, there should be like a big red X that comes up in his vision every time Riley Cooper gets spotted. But and there's no deep threat. There's no one that even just not so much that they're going to throw the deep threat, but there's no one to really stretch the field and pull a safety and a corner back down the field with him and maybe open up coverage to another option. But the offensive line excuse can only go so far. But frankly, these 2 guards that we have, how does it look to not have Harriman's on this team now? And oh my God. Chip Kelly took a team that could win and turned them into a team that not only can lose, but be one of the most embarrassing looking teams in my lifetime. I'll take Rich Kotite back at his worst at this point. I know it's only 2 weeks into the season. People are like, the season's not over. The Eagles can still win the East, which is true and all. But where are they going after that? Who cares? This team ain't going to beat anyone. Anyone that's a decent talent in this league. You couldn't beat an eighth of a football team that took the field in the Dallas Cowboys last week. So anyways, just a complete shit game. Just to go over, and there was actual highlights in the Eagles game. Parkey hit a 40-plus yard field goal. Okay, that's it for the highlights of the game. Just a shit performance from the Eagles. Just a shit performance, and let's see who else had a shit performance last week. Okay, now, some people were saying, and are popping off to me, first of all, that didn't put their picks down. They're saying, like, damn, you did terrible with your picks last week. Oh, I would love to meet the person that picked Oakland over the Raiders, that picked even Dallas over the Eagles. There wasn't many people doing that other than people that, had blind faith in the Cowboys, whatever. Picking Cleveland to beat Tennessee, picking New Orleans to lose at home. I mean, it was just a wacky week that everyone did bad on their picks. And people that say, like, damn, you did bad on your picks. Give me a break. There's no one that did good on these picks because there were so many fucking upsets. Starting with Thursday Night Football. Not so much that it's an upset, but, because Peyton Manning's the greatest quarterback ever. A comeback win. How you liking Andy Reid in Kansas City, huh? And it's tough because I can only bash into teams so much, and I know you guys like hearing me bash into other teams here and whatnot, but when my team is shitting the bed, I don't really have much right of any to talk about another team shitting the bed. But I'll do it anyway. Kansas City, Jamal Charles fumbles in the game already. Give the ball back to him. I don't know if they're running a draw play in the end of the game, whatever. Fumbles the ball after a Broncos scoring drive. This game should be just going into overtime, no big deal. Fumbles the ball, like 8 or some odd seconds left, and Kansas City loses. Old Mr. Game Manager Smith really didn't look that good either. He did a great job managing that interception at the 5-yard line. This is one of those games that should have been an easy 14-point win for Kansas City, and it ends up being a 7-point loss out of stupidity. And Kansas City still doesn't have a wide receiver with a touchdown in 18 games now. The fuck? Dallas beat Philadelphia 20-10. We already went over that in length. Holy shit. Talk about coming back down to earth. That world beater defense that even I was starting to say, like, man, that defense in Buffalo is looking good. Until Tommy comes to town and spanks you. Holy shit. Talk about getting humbled. Tom Brady, I think he threw for like 8,337 yards just in that one game against Rex Ryan, a defensive guru, and just, wow. That's what happens when boys meet a championship squad. And to all the doubters that say, like, the Patriots need to cheat to win and all that stuff, and I would love to see their entire image and history just crumble due to all this cheating shit. Cheating aside, they're just one of the best football teams ever. Like this squad again this year, it's probably going to make a deep push into the playoffs and maybe win another Super Bowl. It's just sick. It's just sick what this team can do. Like, this was arguably the best defensive squad they were going to face, and they put a 40 spot on them? That's just fucking sick. That's just fucking sick. And Gronk telling people, flexing to the camera and then telling everyone to sit down. I love that shit. Going into someone else's turf and telling them to sit the fuck down. Fucking hate the Patriots. That's the problem. Anyways, Carolina winning, beating Houston. That touchdown that Cam had flipping over the goal line. Oh my God! Talk about, it's stuff like that motivates Cam to be the super Cam. I mean, you'd think losing your stud wide receiver, puts you in a hole this season, but they're firing. They're firing on all cylinders. They're doing good on offense, doing good on defense, and keep your eye on Carolina. It's 2 weeks in, but keep your eye on Carolina. Another team you should keep your eye on is Chicago. Not because they're good, because Jay Cutler is going to just continue shitting the bed. And wow, and Arizona with a 48-point. I know people are like, well, it's against the Bears, and the Bears, they gave up in the game and they just let Arizona score left and right. Carson Palmer, I would love to have faith in this guy, but I can't until he does something that really impresses me. Like do something outside of the regular season, and that's the story of his career. Just constant injuries, constant misfortune, constant. Like I'd love to root for this guy. I like the way he plays the game, but he's just done nothing. He's just done nothing. But anything's possible for Arizona because they've got pieces. They've got enough pieces to get the job done. Just Carson's got to show up and be dominant through the whole year into the postseason before I'm a believer in them. Cincinnati winning at home against San Diego. Well, that's whatever. Tennessee losing to Cleveland, getting doubled up too. Like, wow, Tennessee brought you back down to earth too. Everyone was like, "Oh, Marcus Mariota's the next big thing." Oh, we lost to Johnny Manziel. Right back down to earth. Right back down to earth. And speaking about a team that's staying down to earth, oh boy, the Detroit Lions losing to the team that put up a 3 spot against the 49ers last Monday, or 2 Mondays ago. 26-16, the Vikings beat the Detroit Lions. That was a fraud, what you saw in week 1 against the 49ers. Minnesota's a much better team than what you saw, and then you saw that. Adrian Peterson still got his legs under him, showed you what he can do. Honestly, the game that I am the most shocked with this week is this New Orleans loss at home to Tampa, 26-19. Drew Brees, there is no excuse for that. None whatsoever. It's like, you got to consider if Drew Brees is getting in near that Peyton Manning territory of hitting that wall. Like Peyton Manning, his career is fucking cooked. No matter how many, you got to come back win this week. Drew Brees just does not look like the Drew Brees of old. Not last season, not this season, and it's been way too long. Like, again, with Peyton Manning, it's going back into 5 games of last season, 1 and done in the playoffs, and the first 2 weeks, granted, he looked better against the Chiefs this week. I'll give him that much credit. But Drew Brees has looked just a borderline, well, terrible for the way he's used to playing. But it just... Actually, what was his stats in the game? Let me bring that up, because I thought he did way worse than I'm thinking. Yeah, 24 for 38, 255, taking 4 sacks and 1 interception. Now, while that's, not that horrible, for Drew Brees, playing against the Tampa Bay defense, shut up, phone, playing against the Tampa Bay defense that Marcus Mariota just carved up the week before, that's pretty awful. That's pretty awful. Speaking of pretty awful, the team that is arguably worse than the Eagles, dare I say, the New York Giants, losing to the Falcons. Now, granted, we lost to the Falcons too here in Philly, losing 24-20. Now, the reason why I say this team is arguably worse is the Giants have had double-digit leads in both the Week 1 game against the Cowboys and that Week 2 game against the Falcons here. You had double-digit leads in the fourth quarter, and you end up losing both games. What the mother of fuck? That's awful. That's just awful. But as to whether or not you're worse than the Eagles, it's a coin flip. That's like take a bullet in the head or a bullet in the gut. I mean, or well, I guess the bullet in the gut you have a chance of surviving, but you're gonna hurt like a motherfucker. At least the bullet in the head puts you out of your misery real quick. San Francisco at Pittsburgh. Oh, San Francisco, I hope you just enjoyed that high of smoking that legal California weed for 1 week. If you have your card to get weed, that is. 18-43, Pittsburgh just brought you right back down to earth. There's so many teams that got brought right back down to earth. It's like no, don't get excited. Colin Kaepernick is not going to go off, and Hyde did nice his first week and all, but it's you guys are going to be a pretty bad team, and Pittsburgh showed you what it's like to run into a buzzsaw. Anyways, another game that is shocking. Again, like, you guys did good in your picks, right? You guys had Washington over St. Louis. Oh, I did. Yeah, sure. I don't have my picks written down, but I'll claim it now. Yeah, shut up. St. Louis losing 24-10 to the Washington Redskins. My God. Are the Washington Redskins going to win the NFC East this year? It's possible. Like, it is literally possible. With the Cowboys having no Dez, no Romo for just say hypothetically 10 weeks here. That's a rough estimate of what both are going to miss. It's, quite possible that, over the next 10 games that, Dallas only manages to pull up 4, maybe 5 wins. Because, there's a lot of tough games in that 10-game span, like Seattle, like, not New Orleans, Seattle, Green Bay, and the Patriots. Like, that should be 3 losses right there if they beat any one of those teams with no Dez or no Romo. That's interesting. But linking this back to the Cowboys and Redskins, in all honesty, and Dallas fans may hate this, or you may be doing, I don't know what type of LSD you're doing to be convinced that Whedon is a good quarterback, but your honest to God best option right now would be making a cheap trade to Washington and getting RG3 to play until Romo and Dez come back. Now, you may hate that, but that's free advice. I really don't give a shit what your team does, because frankly, my team ain't going to make any noise this year. But in all honesty, Washington is not going to play RG3. He's just going to sit as a third-string emergency quarterback. Give him a cheap trade. Give him anything. And they'll give you RG3. I'm sorry, but he is a much better quarterback than Brandon Whedon. And you are kidding yourselves to deny that. And I'm talking like a 6th round and someone off the bench. You give it to Washington, big. There it is. Take it or leave it. Okay, there. Here's Mr. Dreadlocks. Take him. Take Predator. But anyways, Washington winning 24-10, and frankly, RG3 can still win games in this league. He was still winning games last year. He beat the Eagles when the Eagles had a must-win game week 16. Anyway, again, I don't give a shit what the fuck you do, Dallas, but that's free advice, and that, honest to God, is your best option of what you should do while Romo is out. Miami losing to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Miami, what are you doing? Now, I know they won the Week 1 game barely against the Redskins, and then losing 23-20 to the Jags. Yikes. Again, I said at the beginning of the season that the Jags are going to be one of these teams that are going to be the up-and-coming team in the league. And, we'll finish with probably 6-7 type wins. And it's like, that's a borderline playoff team next year if they make a good move or two. But, another game I'm sure you all had predicted right, because my picks suck, but everyone out there had Oakland over Baltimore, right? Baltimore winning 37-33. Great game, actually. Watched a replay of it. This was a fun fucking game to watch. 37-33, Oakland. Who would have thought that Oakland had the ability to score 37 points? My goodness. Oh, boy, and that loss of Suggs looks like it's going to hurt Baltimore. And the NFC title rematch, Seattle at Green Bay. Green Bay wins by double digits, 27-17. Cam Chancellor, calling you, buddy. Yeah, I have no idea what's going on with that situation. That's just terrible. And the Eagles' next opponent, the New York Jets, whooped the Indianapolis Colts 22-7. My gosh. Is there anyone out there that seriously thinks the Philadelphia Eagles are going to go up to Jersey and beat the Jets? We'll get to that prediction later on this week. Let me go through Week 3 predictions. My goodness. We're starting off with what could be the new team to stake a claim in the NFC East. The Washington Redskins at the New York Giants. Washington's playing better football right now, Giants. I'm sorry. I got them winning. Giants line. Giants are -4. I got the Giants winning. Philadelphia and the Jets, we'll go over that later on this week. Again, I will be gone this weekend, so don't expect a reaction video right away after the Eagles game. And I'm not going to be able to do live tweets, etc., blah, blah, blah. Cincinnati at Baltimore. This is the end of Baltimore's season if they lose, and they start the season off with two West Coast games. I know Colorado's not exactly West Coast, but you start off going to Colorado and then playing in California and Oakland the next week. Like that's a rough start to the schedule. Like the schedule makers, like how can you give an East Coast team 2 West Coast games to start the season? That's pretty stupid. But anyway, I don't feel confident, but Baltimore should have enough pride to not come out 0-3 and win at home against Cincinnati, but I am not confident in that pick at all. I mean, I'm just picking out of, like, logically in their head, and this being still a championship squad that won the Super Bowl just a few years ago. New Orleans at Carolina. Fuck you, Drew Brees, New Orleans. You ain't winning. Especially in Carolina. Panthers are going to whip that ass. Oakland at Cleveland. Whoa. Interesting. Cleveland tuned up the Titans last week, and Oakland didn't exactly tune up the Ravens, but they scored a fuck ton of points on them. I think this is, this went from a potential who gives a shit game to we might actually see an entertaining game here. I got Oakland winning. I'm sorry. They put up a lot of points against the team that won the Super Bowl a few years ago. Atlanta at Dallas. This is one of those key games for the Cowboys. If the Cowboys win this game, or if they lose this game, it's like, oh, all faith is restored in Philadelphia. We can win the East with 5 wins, because that's probably all the Cowboys are going to end up with. Of course, Dallas would have the tiebreaker, but anyways. This is one of those games that Dallas has to win, because this is one of the softer opponents. It's then, they can count on losing to Green Bay, Seattle, the Patriots, but it's like these little games like the Redskins, the Falcons, the Buccaneers, the games like that. It's winning those games while Romo and Dez are out and half the rest of the team as well. I got the Falcons winning this game. Road game or not for the Falcons, I got the Falcons winning this game. Because unlike the Eagles, the Falcons actually have a real football team, and I don't see them shutting down Julio Jones any better than the Eagles did. I think that Jones and Ryan are just going to have a field day. Matty Ice. Tampa at Houston. Houston is going to whoop that Tampa Bay ass. San Diego at Minnesota. I think this is a tough game. Fuck. See, I kind of coin flipped. I know where I want to lean, and man, Minnesota. Even though I won't be surprised if Philip Rivers puts on an air show in this one. Jacksonville at New England. New England is a 13.5 point favorite. I got Jacksonville. Who are we kidding? The Patriots are going to win. But as everyone knows, and the Patriots fans know, the Patriots usually do the opposite of what I predict. So you're probably pissed that I didn't pick the Jags to win this game. But if you have an ounce of common sense, you got to know the Patriots are going to win this game. Pittsburgh at St. Louis. Pittsburgh is back to form, and they're gonna whoop St. Louis. Sorry, Nick Foles, but sorry. Indianapolis at Tennessee. Now, Indianapolis made the playoffs last year after going 0-2. In fact, they barely lost that. They lost that Monday night game against the Eagles in Week 2 last season. But Tennessee is better. Obviously, with Mariota alone, that makes them a better team. I cannot possibly imagine, I mean, even more than Baltimore, I cannot possibly imagine that Andrew Luck and this Colts team goes 0-3. And if they do, bye-bye. You just handed the division to the Texans. Or the Titans. Marcus Mariota making the playoffs his first year in the league. It's not going to sit well. Not going to sit well with what Philly should have gone after in the draft. But San Francisco at Arizona. Arizona is going to tune the fuck up out of the 49ers. Buffalo at Miami. Buffalo! Miami just hasn't played convincing ball at all. Chicago at Seattle. I mean, this is like, it's like, what's going to be higher? The number of interceptions that Cutler throws, or the number of points that the Bears score? Or is Cutler going to be using his hamstring injury? He's I can't play. Oh, my hamstring. Oh, ow. Oh, I can't play. I can't play against this good team. I'm sorry. In Seattle, 0-2. I can't see them going 0-3. Let's be realistic. And frankly, this is barely a football team I'm playing. I have room to talk. Denver at Detroit. I think Detroit is going to tune the fuck up out of Denver. And it has nothing to do with my Peyton Manning hate or anything like that. I know, Detroit hasn't exactly been playing a convincing ball, and it may just sound like I'm just being a player hater of Peyton Manning, but I just think this is going to be Detroit's coming out game. Probably going to be wrong about that one. But anyway, Kansas City at Green Bay ending the week. Have fun with Andy Reid in Kansas City because Green Bay is going to beat your ass. So that wraps up our Week 2 in review, Week 3 preview, and our Eagles recap. And I'll be out with that Eagles-Jets preview later on this week. That's going to be a fun video to make. Oh my God, I'm going to be bursting with optimism in that one, though. We'll get into it later this week. Anyways, congrats to all the winners, and a tissue to all the losers, and a shotgun to put to the head of all Eagles fans. What a wonderful season we have going on so far, and I'm trying, people. Like, I'm trying to remain like enthusiastic about, you know, breaking down these games and stuff when my team has got me in such an abysmal mess as far as football appreciation right now. I'm trying, guys. So I promised I would do these videos here for you, so I'm a man of my word. Even if my ghost has to eventually do these videos here for you. So anyways, let's enjoy another week of football, shall we? Have a good day, everyone. Oh, fuck the Dallas Cowboys. The team that just beat us. Have a good day, guys.